Hello, and welcome to another edition of A Lot of Help. I'm James Lott Jr., and I'm talking to my friend. I'm so happy to get him on because he's at home, I'm at home. This is what we're doing. He's a 360 creative coach, author, filmmaker, and I saw on there digital content guru. Okay. And he's my buddy.
Sure.
As we started, why not give the names for ourselves? But he is good. He's my friend, Phil Svitek. Hi, Phil.
Hello. It's a pleasure to be here
So
virtually.
we collaborate on things all the time, and we can't be in person. Clearly, I mean that's kind of how it is. I'm coming to you from far away Inglewood.
That is far.
Actually, I guess it is kind of. We're about 30 miles away from each other, I guess. And right now I'm looking outside. It's sunny with some marine layer. That's what's happening here.
Yes, it's sunny here for me too, and hopefully the dogs don't bark during this.
Hey, if they do, I tell people it's live. I had one I did with a girl from the Real World, the challenge, and her dog decided to come in. I said, sure, bring the dog in. You know I'm a dog. I love dogs. I'm like, animals, dogs, it's fine. We're all at home. I mean, that's the thing. And one of the first questions I'm going to ask you is, how has being at home informed any kind of work that you do? Because now you're home with things and animals.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it wasn't that much different. I was already working from home. The only difference is, I can't go out and play soccer. You know what I mean? So there's that aspect of it. But I will say there's a collective feeling that you get when you're walking around. Like people are a little bit nicer, but there's also this sense of anxiety. And so I do feel a little bit less lethargic in a way that I didn't expect it to hit me.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm feeling it from other things around me, even though my day-to-day shouldn't be that much affected. And also too, just by that nature, now that everyone's at home, I get a lot of phone calls that I wouldn't normally get during the workday. And not that I mind it, and it's varying levels of people dealing with stuff. And I try to treat everyone's like, whatever they got going on as like, that's the most important thing. Because to them, it is the most important thing, And so that's the way I try to be there for people. And I haven't been putting out as much content because as much as I want to help, like overall, I figured right now, if people need me on a direct, more one-on-one level, then that's the way I can be there for them.
I'm a piggyback off of that. I'm doing both. You can't see it, but I have a schedule back here. I've been interviewing 3 people a day, basically.
Nice.
The last like 11 days. I've been home for, this is day 13 for me. I've not left my house or my compound in 13 days. I'm lucky I have a huge yard, a big house. So I'm very fortunate. But I've been interviewing people, but also been talking to people off camera, off mic. And you're right. Actually, I think I've been more social ironically in the last 2 weeks than I have been when I'm busy working.
Yeah.
It's kind of this weird dichotomy happening where it's like, I'm doing happy hours with people. I'm joining all these things. I'm doing a webinar tomorrow for Host in LA. I'm actually talking to more people than I did when I was busy out there talking to people. I think it's very interesting that that's kind of happening for all of us now that are on here.
Yeah, and I think, obviously it's a sad situation, but I think there's a paradigm shift that's happening. And I think the longer this goes, I think we can start to see some of the things that we didn't think were possible. And I think that excites me about this. And again, I know the circumstances aren't great, but at the end of the day, it's like happiness is a choice, and I used to think for a long time, just because someone was happy, it was like, well, F them, they don't have the hardships that I have or anyone else. And it's like, no, they do. They're just choosing something else.
So there are 2 things that I think you would agree with this on some level. There are 2 things I look at this. I always think out of crisis and tragedy, sometimes great things are born and invented. And I think there's 2 things for me, 2 and 2, that I think are going on. Introspection is a time for introspection, and it's also a time for creativity. There's like 2 things going on, and they kind of go hand in hand. But some people, maybe it's just introspection is the one thing, or some people it's just the creativity. But I think they can go hand in hand. And I want to speak about a little bit about, you just kind of led into it, the introspection part. A lot of us are being forced to be at home, and a lot of people don't like being at home. There are folks who like being out, and for various reasons, for a myriad of reasons. What are some of the things you're telling people about if they feel I'm just depressed, or I'm anxiety, or I have this and I'm being home? What are you telling some people? What are some things you're telling them?
Well, it depends on what they're fully dealing with. But a lot of times, like I say, okay, what used to work for you before? So, there's this girl that I've been talking to. She's a dear friend, and she's very religious, and she journals. I was like, are you doing either of those? And she was like, I haven't really been praying for the past year, and I haven't really been journaling, for a couple of years now. I'm like, well, when did you really start to feel like life was dragging you down? Well, about a year ago when I stopped praying. I was like, okay. And I'm not saying go pray, but I'm saying whatever used to work for you, now especially is the time to be doing that, and there's that core foundation of going back to the basics. Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, and then you can add on to that.
I like that. I do like that. I've been telling people, number one, because I got some flack, because that's just how social media is a little bit, that you live in a house, James, and you have a big yard. So of course, I'm like, okay, first of all, yes, I do, which actually makes the point I should stay home then. I don't need to go out for anything because I have a big house in the yard. But my bigger point is I've lived, I'm almost 51 years old. I have lived a lot of different places, in small places, big places. I lived in a place once that had no kitchen. It was called an Efficiency in San Francisco, and it had I had a hot plate, I had a microwave, and I had what I call one of those college dorm refrigerators that's low. There's no kitchen. But every place I've lived in, I tell people all the time, make it as comfortable as possible. And I always feel like that should be your goal anyway, not just during crisis. But if your home is comfortable, it will help ease some of the stuff. I mean, that could mean pictures on the walls. Like I have pictures on my walls. It could be plants. I have plenty of plants in my house. Like it could be anything, a comfortable couch, a comfortable bed, a comfortable seat, a view of something. I mean, like whatever it is, I think it's up to you to that's one place to start. It's to make your home comfortable, no matter what size it is. So
and I think that's the other thing. Like people are finding like they weren't really prepared. So like when all of a sudden this happened, like I really didn't need to go grocery shopping because I already actually had enough supplies, and I still haven't needed to. I actually had masks and gloves and like the things like, you're supposed to have overall if you live in California for an earthquake. And a lot of people didn't.
Yes.
And to me, so like, I think a lot of anxiety comes from the fact that like people are realizing they weren't prepared and now they're having to get to that place. But you're 100% right. I mean, no matter what you got, you can make it work for you. And in the words of our friend Gary Vee, like, what other option do you have? Like, if you don't have a actual stove, well, like, okay, microwave. Like, what else you got?
Yeah.
You got to make it work. And I don't think that some people take that as a harsh thing, but it's like, well, it's just the reality of it.
I agree. I mean, it's our buddy. I love Gary Vee. So I'm a big believer of, what do you have? Make it work, so to speak. Make it work for you. It's almost like my organizing thing, where I have a thing where you can take your bad habits and make them into good ones. I have a whole class on that. It's almost like, so what do you have in your house right now? Like maybe the pillows would be fluffed a little better, or maybe you need this over here. And you're right. It's a good point about the earthquake. I have an earthquake kit. I have an emergency bag. And my brother has one too. I live with. He was like, I got all this water I have that's in the little packets. I'm like, so we're kind of in California. We are kind of should be set for that. So now you're being thrust into this. Oh dang! I'm not prepared for anything, which can be a thing for some people too. They feel bad about themselves. Feel guilty. Why didn't I have this? And why don't I have it? I'm like, don't do that.
Yeah, please no.
Don't do that, because that's not going to really help you at all. Being hard on yourself. And I talk to people all the time. People are hard on themselves, and they're just like, I should have did this better. And I'm like, no. Just that now you see this. Maybe next time you'll be more prepared. But like I'm like you. I was ready. I was kind of ready too.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You got to take note of like, okay, I should just be more prepared moving forward. Check that. That's all that should happen, and then move on as far as, okay, so how do I get prepared now? And having that mass panic and whatever. And by the way, I love that Costco is not doing returns for the hoarders.
I know.
And I know some people that hoarded and things like that, and it's it is what it is, but
it's a little much. My mother hoarded, so I was like, and she already was a hoarder already. So I was like, you don't need nothing else. You need nothing else. Now she stayed home for the last 2 weeks. I'm like, girl, you need nothing else. But I actually laughed at her and said, you being a hoarder naturally actually saves you in a situation. You have plenty of supplies. I actually went over there and went shopping before the lockdown. I said, I'm going to Benita's and I'm going shopping. And I got all kinds of stuff I needed and brought to my house. That did help a little bit. But I said, after it's all over, we're still going to declutter your house. But no, but mindset, you and I both just talked about this a little bit. It's
Wait, I'm curious. Sorry to cut you off.
Please, do it, Tony.
Do you find like a lot of people are anxious from your perspective because they were hoarders and now they're having to live in their own filth? I feel like luckily my friends aren't like that, but I can't imagine what you're dealing with.
That's a very good question. You must have been interviewed before. No, it's you must have done some TV. I don't know, some web stuff. No, here's the funny thing you say that, because my clients have all called me within the last weekend. All this past weekend, I heard from 90% of my clients are like, so I guess you're not coming anytime soon, so, we started that project in the closet and it's just sitting there. And I'm like, there's virtual organizing. I can help you, talk you through it. I just can't be there. Like, so I am getting those kind of calls of like, I've been sitting here for 2 weeks now in my mess. And everything I said to you in the beginning about how you'll feel better if you're not cluttered, and they were like, yeah. And now they're like really believing it. So it's a trip. It's like you really are sitting in your stuff and you're staring at it. Like you can't leave the house 8 hours a day, go to work, and then come home like, oh, I'm tired, I'll go to sleep. You're sitting at it the whole time. And so you're right. I got like 10 phone calls this weekend from I just want to check in with you. I'm like, you want to check in with me? I'm fine. I'm doing good. But I was very sensitive, of course. And I talked to each one of them and I offered them, some of them physically, they're older, they can't do what I can do. But some of them I say, I can put me on FaceTime, put me on Skype. I can talk you through it. We can go through those papers together. And virtual organizing the thing, folks. Go to SOS Show with James Lott Jr. and I talk to virtual organizers and they tell you all kinds of what that can entail. That's funny. It's a great question. I mean, but then on some level, I had a couple of them go, well, see, James, that's just why, just in case. And so it may be reinforcing to them they should be a hoarder.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a strange circumstance. That's an anomaly. They're almost like co-signing the idea, well, James, you trying to get me to get rid of this stuff is not really a good thing because, see, this happens and I need it. So it's all, again, it's the whole mindset.
Interesting.
It's very interesting. My profession right now is like, it's all over the place right now because the clients are just like, you can't go to their house. And then they're like, what am I going to do? And some of them started projects. But then I was helping somebody move, but now it's frozen. Nobody's moving at the moment. And they're not getting, so it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But it is a whole mindset. But to go back to the mindset thing, it is this thing where you have to kind of find a switch to flip to go from sadness and anxiousness and boredom and all this stuff, and switch to something kind of positive, like productivity and bright light. And it's like you have to find a way to do that because right now you can go crazy. So I always say to people, are you safe and sane right now?
Yeah, but to the same token, I know like some people like I should be doing more and this and that, and I'm like, are you staying home? Then you've done what you need to do.
Okay,
There's no offense to, I know some people personally that literally were part of the problem when they went to the beaches and the parks.
Oh,
I was like,
I
know. So I use them as an example, against my other friends. I'm like, listen, you stayed home, you did your job.
Yes.
And I have another friend, I won't say his name, but we both know him, AB, I'll call him.
Yes, it is, yes.
And he was like, there's just nothing to watch on Netflix. I'm like, buddy, because he was telling me like, I want to buy another video game. I'm like, buddy, once you've seen literally everything on Netflix, I will buy you 10 video games.
Hey, there you go. I like that.
So, because I know it's never going to happen.
Netflix, folks. There's stuff on Netflix. Trust and believe. I can't. There's too much. I mean, I'm sitting there going, because I have Disney Plus. I have Hulu. I have Netflix. My brother has CBS All Access, which I can go into that one. And then plus I have cable and, whatever. It's like, there's too much for me to watch. I can't watch everything.
That's the thing. Like, I'm just so, like, there's never been a better time to be quarantined than now.
Yeah.
We can Zoom, we could do this. We could, have virtual happy hours. We can watch whatever the hell we want. So there's that meme of like, our grandparents had to go to war. All we're being asked to do is sit at home. But I also take it to another level. Like, even if our grandparents had to stay at home, it's like, okay, what were they going to play? They didn't have phones. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to me.
I know. We are pretty well stocked. I mean, for the most part, even if you're not rich, you have TV and phone. I mean, many people have a computer or, internet on their phone. I mean, we have systems in place that this Zoom thing is so amazing to me because Cameron Lewis, a friend of ours, we just did a show. And we talked about how Zoom, this conference meeting app, has become a social meeting app.
Yeah.
To me, it's amazing how something can turn on a dime. And this thing has been around for a long time. I've used it basically for corporate meetings, and like now it's being used for happy hours and webinars. Like it's just like this. It's turned into this whole like you just never know. That's like
Yeah.
life. It's like life. You just never know.
Well, people are even, I know like people now, like on the dating apps, they're using this as like a first date. And I'm like, to me, like that should be more obvious anyway. It's like, why do I want to waste going somewhere for someone that I may or may not like, like just based off an interaction of basically a chat, So it's like, if you and I were trying to date, like, hey, James, so like, what are your aspirations? All right, 5 minutes into this. All right, you know what? It's not going to work out. Thanks.
Yeah, I
That's
love.
it. It's 5 minutes.
Well, it's funny. I'm wondering how this really will change the face of um, a lot of our creative world. You and I are in the creative world, creative space. We're in media. And I'm just curious to how this is going to transform how we connect, the different platforms we're using. I mean, all the IG lives are just like amazing.
Well, in general, I don't have necessarily specifics, but now there's that cultural shift of like, well, we all thought like CEOs were the most important people, but it's like really the doctors, the nurses, and restaurants and so forth, right? Like the people that like proverbially were kind of shit on in our culture, and it's like, and also there was another component to it that I saw, like everyone always shits on art and they don't want to fund art programs, but what are you guys all doing at home? Watching Netflix and this and that. And so I hope I'm not saying ultimately there's one sector that's better than the other, but like we're all a necessary component on the larger scale. And it should be treated as such, you
I
know?
always have said that arts and culture are just as important as politics, law, medicine. I mean, it's so important. In some ways, it's almost in some ways it's more important or a little higher up, just because it does affect all those things. It affects your mental health, which can affect your physical health. I mean, it's a lot of things that go into playing an instrument or journaling. Even something as
Yeah.
simple as that, or writing a movie or telling a joke. I had a friend of mine, Tamara Katan, who was on. He talked about the science of laughter during a crisis.
Yeah.
And one of the things he brought up was that laughter, comedy is all about tension and release, and we're all right now we're tense collectively, like
Absolutely.
because
Yeah.
everybody's. This is so weird too. Everybody's going through, not just America, not just China, like everyone's going through it. And so with comedy, the tension builds, builds, builds. You need something to release something, and so that's why all those memes are out and things are out to make us kind of laugh. Even though we know it's serious, like we totally know it's serious, but there's something about the science of art that can, watching a comedy, watching a certain movie, that whole Tiger or whatever that's big right now.
Tiger King. Yeah.
It's Tiger King. I haven't watched it. I mean, I probably will watch it at some point, but like it's just
Don't get me started on my thoughts on it.
I've
I'm
got to. Yeah, I've
disgusted
got to. I just finished The Mandalorian,
by it.
so I loved it. But I'm just like, it's funny that this collective thing of where we're like going, okay, I'm seeing more and more of the. It's funny because social media is such an odd thing when you really think about it. But people are trying to use it now as a positive thing, and they're doing all these kind of like, the first 5 people are this, and I'm seeing all these interactions are happening more and more now. They're always there, but like I'm seeing more and more of that, and that to me
Yeah.
that does feed your brain, which does feed your body.
It does, and it can. I mean, it done in the right way, right? I mean, I go back to Winston Churchill. Like he painted, you know
Yeah,
what I mean, and it was no coincidence, and that he did that, and he also was a bricklayer, and you could look that as an art form as well. And
oh yeah.
so I think to your point, social media has that escapist aspect, and we can connect and kind of laugh, and also hopefully share the right information. Sometimes people, but I think you have to kind of search for what you want, because I think there is a component to it where if you're already an anxious person, you're naturally going to gravitate towards that type of stuff, and then you're just going to reaffirm your earlier beliefs, and so that can be a little bit dangerous too.
For me personally, when I tell my friends who watch the news 24/7, I said I refuse to do that. I said I'm not going to watch news 24/7. Well, I'm
Yeah.
going to miss out on something. You're not going to miss. Trust me, you're not going to miss out on anything if you watch it. Maybe in the morning, and maybe in the evening, sometime, and not before bed. Don't watch it before bed, but like and maybe sometime in the evening you may or late afternoon. That usually by then, I always say the morning, because by the time you come around, the latest stuff has been put out by then. And so you will, trust me, you will not miss out on like the latest thing. You'll hear about it. I get alerts to my phone sometimes. I may glance at the alert and see the title. Oh, okay, got it. And I go about my business.
Well, I also think too, like, you're not going to miss the latest thing, because I think there's a level of, if let's say there is a press conference and something gets enacted, then, all like the fake journalism just pumped to like put it out in the most sensational way. And that's not doing you a service, versus like someone more credible. They're going to take their time and really explain, like, what does this mean? And how does this impact you? And what do you have to do? So that way I think, yeah, there is a level of journalism that there still has to be integrity towards journalism, and rather than just fear mongering, tactics of like, we're on lockdown for the next month. And it's like, and then that's what you see. And then they just throw in like random quotes to reinforce that. Governor says we're in lockdown for next month. And it's like, let's take a step back. Let's contextualize it.
And many times that's not what he said exactly. It's like I'm suggesting, probably, we are hearing conflicting things out there, and that part is confusing. So I tell people all the time, just kind of step back, and try to find those credible sources that you can leave. It can be a little hard sometimes, but you got to do the work. Sometimes you got to do the work to find. And I agree with you, the whole thing of, you can online media. I've said this before, even before the virus. You can craft what you see and who you interact with. You have the power to do that. I always say that my pages are not a democracy, they're a dictatorship. So my pages, I post whatever the F I want and however I want to and how often I want to. They're my page. And I choose who gets to see that. And I choose who gets to come into that. And so then who I see, the algorithms work sometimes where you look at certain people, you always see their stuff. So if you want to see more positive things, look for positive people online. Look for positive messages. If you need something to calm down, find things that talk about being calmed down. Like, you have the power. I think people sometimes just relinquish power, like, well, I can do anything about it anyway. Like, no, you can do something about it. It's not completely hopeless or powerless. Yeah. I think you have to take the power back on some level.
Well, speaking of that, I think that's a big component for people, is this idea that we never had control to begin with. Like, they're having this issue of like, well, what am I in control of when the world just goes to chaos just like that? But it's like, well, that was always the case. What you actually have control over is yourself. And so ironically, once you start to see that, then you can have you have more control than you think, but at the same time, it is only you. Like, it's a weird paradox. And I think that's something that people are grappling with right now, of like, yeah, I tried to control my world around me, and it's just not the same. Like, the whole notion of, I know people like, I'm going to work at this company for 3 years. After that, I'm going to move here. And it's like, that's out the window. So now what? What are you going to do?
And it's okay. It's okay. I love that. It's okay to have goals and have ideas of things you want to do, clearly. But I think I like to tell people, I'm an example of somebody who said, okay, I'm at 40 years old. I'm tired of how things were. I'm going to just change my life. And I had ideas of things I wanted to do, but I stayed open to the universe. I was just kind of like, well, I'll try this and see where that leads. I'll try this. I'll see where that leads. I don't say, well, in 5 years I'm gonna do this, and in 10 years I'm gonna do that. I think that culture is gone at this point.
Well, I think I agree, and I actually heard it said extremely well today by Simon Sinek. He was talking about the summarization being like, you got to know your destination, but not the path. And so a lot of people focus on the path of like, I'm going to do this for the next 3 years and then this, but they don't know, like, what's the ultimate destination? Where are you driving to? As opposed to, you know what, I'm on the East Coast. I want to get to California. I'm going to meander every which way. So like, when you talk about your stuff, like, yeah, you're kind of going every which way, but you know the destination of what you want to do as far as like, what is your purpose,
Well, it's almost the same thing as, like just the whole thing of envisioning it's like just saying, okay, well, for me, I was like, I want to be free to do what I want. It was literally that simple. I said at 40. And I said, now I don't know what that looks like. I had no idea what that looked like back then. I was like, I know I want to do this. And I started trying things, and the freedom started to come.
Yeah.
I mean, it was literally like, I just want to be different. And I didn't, but see, I grew up the whole thing, I grew up in the 70s and 80s where it was like the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan. It's like, that's not, I don't think it's the model anymore. I think it's just kind of like, what do you want in general? And then we'll see if we can get there. And I tell people all the time, everything that I do actually intertwines with the other. It may seem like the music, and then you got the books, and like, well, no, actually, it's all still my branding. It's all the James Lott Jr. positivity and thoughtfulness, and I mean, it's all everything feeds each other to me. They all, and everything I do feeds the other things that I do. Because if I do music, I feel good. Then I write a story. I feel good. Then I do an interview. I feel good. I do an organizing thing. I feel good. I can be life coach. Like, it's kind of like the connect the dots. It all connects. I mean, for me, it all connects. But my overall thing was I just want to be able to do what I want to do and hopefully make some money doing it. And that's kind of what I've been doing for 11 years. I mean, it's kind of, that's what I feel people should look at it that way. Just the big picture. Like, kind of, what does that look like for you? Like, do you want to do that?
Well, I think you definitely have the benefit of time, and I don't mean that in any disrespectful way. But I think too many people, they, it's like everything has to serve that purpose, and sometimes without that hindsight, you don't always know why you're doing something necessarily, like in the larger context. But again, like in that sense, we ask too many people what they want to do rather than why they want to do something. So even if like it doesn't seem like the what has anything to do with anything, is it serving your why? So for me, my why is like, I love to create and I love to help artists, right? That's my why. And whatever way I can kind of go about that, so be it, And so if it's, for me, like me making a movie, well, that fuels me because that expresses my creativity. And at the same time, I could take that back with me of like, here's how I made a movie that might be able to help you,
But I had, like I said, I'm a little older. I had to fight those things because when I came up in the 80s, it was excess, make money, make money, make money. You serve yourself.
Yeah.
Me, me. That's all it was. And so I had to fight that to want to serve the community, so to speak, and then find a way to find ways to do that still were me, but also did actually make a difference on some level and make money. Because you have to make money. I mean, you don't live in this world for free. But I'm not a slave to money either. I don't want to be a slave to it. But I was just like, I had to find a way to overcome what I was taught growing up. My grandmother used to say, you know how to type on a typewriter, you have a job the rest of your life. That was the mindset she had. It was kind of like, there was nothing about, you could still dream, I guess, kind of, but it was more like, get that regular job and work that job till you're 50, 60 years old, then you retire. And it's like, I had to fight that. I had to overcome that. That's my generation. It's like, no, I want to be able to have the kind of life I want, to be an entrepreneur and, go through the tulips or whatever. I mean, that's what I want to do. But I had to fight those lessons that I was taught growing up in economics class and stuff, just in college. It's like, no, you got to get the job and that's it. And you stay the course. You have the 2.5 kids. You got with the dog, whatever. Well, I did have the kids. And you have a dog, and then just like, that's it. It's like, well, no, there's, and these millennials are talking about their feelings and, oh my goodness, getting jobs for feelings. And at first I was kind of like that too. I was kind of like, oh, kind of rolled my eyes. But I kind of get it now. I do get it, that it should be a marriage of two, I think.
Yeah, and I agree. The only like knock I have against like millennials or like, they just need some perspective. Like, I have the feelings, like you're entitled to feel and things like that, but also have the perspective at the end of the day. And because I think that's what helps you move through certain emotions. Because like what I try to do, and sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not, but I'll allow the emotion to kind of feel it and acknowledge it. But that's how I also move past bad moments where I'm like, okay, this is, I know it's there and things like that. I accept it, but now how do we solve it versus just wallowing it for the rest of my life?
Yeah. And I'm going to ask you a question. So because you're a millennial, basically, right? You're a millennial.
Yes. By
yes,
definition.
you are. I'm Gen X.
Definition.
Gen X bitches. No, okay. What I want to ask you is, because I feel like, because I've known you 5 years, and we've had many talks, work together. I feel like you're not a typical millennial to me. You have an older soul to me in many ways when it comes to your work ethic and work.
Well, I'm blessed enough in the sense that basically my entire family, apart from like my parents, are in Slovakia, right? And so it's a very, like, when you talk about ruler, I can't ever say that word, but you get what I'm saying.
Ruler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's towns of like 200 people there, and we used to work the farm and things like that. So I'm used to hard labor, and like typing away at a computer for hours on end, I'm like, this is easy, like compared to what they have to do. Like I know that side of it.
Yeah.
So, and I think books are a fantastic tool for that. Whether I think both fiction and nonfiction, sometimes people gravitate towards nonfiction as well, but I think fiction has that power.
I agree.
And yeah, so I think there's that perspective of it too. And you really, I don't know, you just have to make a choice to see beyond yourself, because if you consider it, there's nothing in your own existence that won't validate that you are at the absolute center of your world. And you have to like not give into that, because even though it's your life, there's also other things around you.
Yeah. I know it's funny because I know people say to me, I'm very youthful, as you know. I'm very youthful, bouncy, I have a lot of energy. And so I feel like I have a young soul in some ways. I feel very attached to younger people, and I like that. But of course, I've lived life, so I know how things work. And so I think it's a great combination. And for you, I think it's a great combination too. It's like there are combinations of, you can be an older soul, but young person, a young soul, an older person, and make it work for you. And I know a lot of folks are like that. They're not just one thing. So I try not to categorize people strictly by their generation. Some do get on my nerves, but I try not to.
And I think there's ways to experience life even if you, let's say, can't travel, right? And even beyond books. Like I was blessed enough to work at a hospice from the age of 15. And like, talk about like an old soul, right? Like that'll clearly make you go beyond yourself, because in a hospice, not only are you dealing with someone sickly, but you also have grieving families left and right. And so that'll make you forget your problems very quickly.
Yeah, definitely. I used to be a nurse. I was a nurse young. So I started as a CNA in high school. I did a work release program. So like junior and senior year, and I became an LVN. So I know, again, and in the middle of the AIDS era. So I mean, I was like, everybody was dying around me. I was dealing with a lot of adult stuff. That did grow me up, so to speak. Yes, I did go to college. I know real English, but I did grow me up. And I did. And so I guess like you, same thing. You see things from a different perspective at a young age. That does affect you. That does really stick with you, and can, in a good way, can inform how you walk through life in a good way.
And I think that's why volunteering is ultra important. And I give a lot of credit. I try to do this sometimes, but I feel that more than not. But like people for their birthday, when they do something charitable versus just have a party. And that to me is incredible, because, they're choosing on their birthday to do something, beyond themselves.
Now I'll say I like a birthday party, but no, here's the thing. So I'm a person who didn't have great birthdays growing up. And so I know that affected me. And I just say things affect you good or bad. And I found myself as I got older, always trying to, for me, it was a chance to get there with my friends, because we're all busy. Everybody's so busy. So birthdays, and you were at one of my birthday parties. I mean, it's just time for people to get together. It's a dinner or whatever, get together. But I do heavily believe in giving back to the community and volunteering. Every city I've ever lived in, I was always part of something. To me, it's just not just because you should. I feel like I'm going to be a preacher about that. You should. But also, it does feed your soul on some level. And it's great connections. You don't know who you're with and how they can possibly help your career. I'm not saying you should do it for that. I'm just saying that you just never know, again, what comes out of stuff.
Exactly. Just even the human connection, right? Like people feel so disconnected right now, but imagine if they knew that they could call on like someone that they work at the local food bank every single weekend and be like, hey, how are you doing? And they have that connection, we're all social animals.
We are. That's the thing. And so that's what I tell people. I understand when people say, well, I feel lonely. Because I do feel bad for the folks who, literally do live alone. There's a dog. I love it.
Yep.
I love it. But there's folks who don't have pets.
Well, here's an interesting, I forget where this was pulled from, but there was a podcast I was working on, and there was a study done, right, where nowadays most people, if you ask them like, how many true friends do you think you can call on in a crisis?
Okay.
People, the most predominant answer was 0.
Wow, really? Okay.
And even like 10 years ago, it used to be 5. And I'm not saying it's not saying that it's true that people don't have people they can call on, but they feel like they have no one to call on.
Got it.
And that is a huge indicator to me of why like suicide rates are up and like,
yeah.
All of this, like it's crazy to me.
There is that whole pride or ego or I'm not worthy, I shouldn't bother them. There's a lot. Are we going to be able to see a baby or no? Are we able to see one?
Yeah, I'm going to hold her for a little bit.
Yay.
So this is Chloe.
Oh my goodness. The baby. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. Animals are the best companions. They're the best. You're so cute. With that cute face.
They have no idea what's going on. They're like, what quarantine?
Yeah, they're so how are you? Because they're your children. So how are you handling? Are you able to walk around the neighborhood at all with them, or how are you doing that?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I walk around with them. I don't. No one was going to tell me to stop. Like these guys don't. They don't know how to potty indoors. So like, we would be screwed if. Yeah, no way.
Okay, I'm sorry. That painting behind you, I love it.
Oh, it's Malik Sidibé painting. He's normally a photographer, but this is
I love it.
He used to take photos of people partying and things like that. You should look him up. You would love him. He's like a French photographer. Did very, very great soul.
Right, I love that back there. It reminds me of my time period too, going back in the day. So I'm like, okay, I remember that time period. I remember what's going on. But yeah, so yeah, I just think that I think volunteering. I'm glad you brought that up. It's another way. And now you can volunteer online. And volunteering can be in many forms, folks. Like, I mean, it could be like you throw a happy hour. To say in your community, say, okay, folks, I'm going to throw together a happy hour on Monday, or like tomorrow. I'm for hosting in LA. I'm doing it for free, a webinar on how to take this time to increase your success. They asked me if I could do it. Me and Shay Holland said, well, let's do it. I put together a program because I got all those things going on, and I said it for free for hosts. Like, why not? That to me, it's volunteering my time and sharing what worked for me. And maybe that'll help somebody else.
Let me ask you this, because I'm not saying like donating money is a bad charitable form, but I think there's something to be said. I think like if you have money, great, donate it. But I also think donating your time is also important because I think sometimes it could be just easy just to throw money at something and be like, well, there, I did what I needed to.
There's an episode of Slackish that was on last week about that, about Dre being money dad, pay dad. It's like he just would pay everything. So he finally joined and actually became a volunteer at the school and learned so much about himself. And that to me is what leads into what you just said, is that I always want to grow and change. I'm always wanting to grow. I mean, the education never stops. If it stops for you, then you must just die. I mean, I don't want it to stop. So for me, volunteering my time, going to a place and speaking, or going to a place and passing out food, or I used to go and pass out condoms at a place in San Francisco. We go out once a week and go to the homeless. I mean, that it teaches. You have the conversations with people. You hear people's stories, and you see things with your own eyes, and it really does help your perspective when it comes to who you vote for next time. It's sometimes how you eat, how you walk through the world. I think again, like you said, we're social animals. We need that human connection. And I think with volunteering, again, places need money. They need money. I'm not gonna say don't do good money, but also I think, and sometimes it's maybe just 2 hours a week, 3 hours. I mean, we're not asking you to do 5 days a week, 7 hours a day. It's just like maybe once a week you go somewhere. I have a friend who once a week goes and pets animals. That's what he does every week. Goes to shelters and he plays with the animals. And it's just volunteering his time.
And that's a great, because I know a lot of people are like, well, I love dogs, I love cats, whatever it may be, but I just don't have the time for an animal. I'm like, that's okay. Like, I'd rather you not adopt an animal if you can't. But guess what? That doesn't mean you can't go to a shelter. Plenty of dogs, like, they need to be walked. Like, they would love for you to walk them. And
I'm gonna plug this thing. I'm gonna plug this one thing. So as an organizer, I tell my clients, your old towels, your old sheets, your old blankets that are kind of torn, they're not like super bad, but they're just kind of raw or stained, give them to shelters. There are a lot of shelters that need them for the animals who are just on concrete floors or marble floors. It gets cold in there. they will take them. Or I need to wash the animals, I can use those towels. So I'm just going to do a little PSA on that.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love
I'm
it.
like, I know I love it. And, you know, and my Scrabble's been gone almost 4 years. Kind of weird. I can't believe it's 3 years. It's been 3 years. And I think I'm fine. I think I want to get an animal. So I think I'm ready now. I really wasn't ready. 15 years with him, I just wasn't.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
Folks were like, no, get a dog, get a dog. I'm like, well, no, I think one day I play with everybody else's dogs. I do. I have a lot of dogs in my life. I'm a dog uncle, so I talk to all these dogs. But I think I'm ready after this quarantine stuff. I'm thinking maybe I'll do something like that. But yeah, shelters. But I just feel like volunteering really does teach you about the larger picture in life than just giving the money. It's like, and trust me, you'll get something out of it for the most part. And it's okay to try some things. They don't work, go somewhere else. You know, try this, doesn't work, go somewhere else. Like you can edit your own life. You can pick what you want to do.
Yeah.
Everybody wants help. But
in that sense too, like the whole point is it shouldn't be about you. So if you go into volunteering thinking like, all right, I'm going to get this out of it, it's like, you are missing the point, buddy.
I'm just saying that some people, like, you go somewhere and maybe you're not the right fit. I mean, like maybe it's something you would do. I mean, like on that level, like, you know, you think you go and you go, well, maybe I'm not the right fit for this. But then you find something else and you're like, that's perfect. I can totally affect change here. I mean, something out of it. Like I was talking to young African-American boys between 17 and 20. And that was a great fit. So that was like, that to me was a good fit for me. I did another few things where I'm like, I don't know, this is not really, I'm just like, I don't know, I'm just not interested. So I'm just saying to people, because people are going to say, well, I don't want to do this. Well, that's fine, but you know.
I feel people go the opposite way. They're like, well, you know, where do I even start? Like, there's so many problems in the world. You know, what am I supposed to do? And it's like, you know what? Like, there's no wrong form of volunteering.
No, not at all.
There really isn't. Like, just whatever you're passionate about, go, and it nudges the world in a better direction.
And there are plenty of places that have all types of volunteering. And there's a place that it's called 826 LA, and they do with middle school kids. They make them write their own books.
Nice.
They actually write a book. They have the whole thing, and so they have people come in who are authors who come in and work with them on how to structure a book and how to do this. And it's a short book, a small book, and so that's volunteering. And if you're a writer, that's fun. You can go in and do that and affect change and bring us some brilliant new writers to come up. You know, we always need new writers. You know, we need all new authors. There's something out there for everybody. That's the thing. There's something out there for everybody. I think you should try it. I think you should try it completely. So introspection, volunteering, being creative, and to go to one of your earlier points. Yes, if you don't want to do that book, you don't want to write, that's fine too. I know that's fine. But I'm sorry, I'm a person who feels like, for the folks who've bitched and moaned, they never have time to do blank. I feel like now you have time to do blank. I'm saying the folks that say, I'm not saying anybody else, but saying the folks who say, I never have time. Like, well, now you have time, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's that weird. It's definitely, I don't know, like where that line is drawn in the sand of like being overly harsh on yourself versus not. And so, but that's like, you know, I'm lucky enough where I've gotten to a place where like I work on, you know, I'm not that person. And I think the theme here comes back to the idea that people didn't think they were prepared, or like they have a lot of regret over past decisions. And now they're being grappled with that sense because they have nowhere else to go. But yeah, to that point, like I think part of it starts like, okay, so you didn't have, you were bitching and moaning that you didn't have time to work on it. Fine, forget that. Like, lesson learned, but now you do. You know, or if like, you know, you're someone that worked pretty hard and whatever else, and you just want to enjoy yourself, let it be whatever like, people just need to make a choice and not beat the shit out of themselves for it. I think that's as plainly as I can say it.
I agree. I agree with you on that completely.
You know, or maybe just have that introspection. Like you keep saying you want to do X, Y, and Z, but just, you don't. And
right. Maybe you don't.
So just learn that you don't, and that's okay. Like, it's really not a big deal if you don't. But just stop saying you do.
I just see that's the thing too. Because I'm like, stop saying the same thing over and over again. I think it gets my nerves. But I agree with you on that one. Sometimes you come to the conclusion, I don't want to do that. That's fine. Like, I mean, and sometimes what you want to do at 20 may change at 25 and at 30 and at 35 and at 40. You may have thought this is what you really wanted. You were told, you know how this feels. You're into it. For me, I want to be the king of all soaps at one point. After a while, I was like, nah, I don't want that. I mean, I want to do other stuff. It was kind of like, but it was fine that I felt that way at that time. But then I realized I didn't want to be. That's fine. I would do something else. And so I agree with you. Just don't worry about it. So you were like that for a while. Maybe after you really sit and think about it, not really what I want to do.
Yeah.
Or I want to keep it as a hobby, or or whatever. You want to keep it in a certain pocket, and that's fine. I think that's totally fine. But I agree with you. I don't think that's the big thing I want everybody to think about. It's just I want you to invite mindset change to happen for you, but I don't want you to hurt yourself over it.
Yeah.
Like literally, it doesn't help you. It really does not help you.
Yeah, I mean, the whole mindset thing is like, it's an effort to try to get to your true nature.
Right.
That's all it is. So if your true nature is not to like output to the level that James Lott Jr. does, don't do it.
Anyway. Yeah, don't go by me like that. Well, I'm actually writing a book that's called Since I Do 20 Things, You Can Do One. And that's kind of my thing. It's just that, don't go by me exactly. You can use me as an example of trying stuff, but like, if you only want to do one thing, do one thing. I have friends who are like, I just want to be talent. But they didn't work on your talent. You don't have to, I don't want to write a story. I don't want to do this. Like, I understand that. That's fine. If all you want to do is come in and be the talent, totally get it. Just be the best talent you can be, I guess. Then just do what you can to make sure it's fresh. You don't have to write a book. You don't have to write a screenplay. I mean, I totally get that. Now there are folks who they want to be a screenwriter. So like, then go ahead and screenwrite, then go ahead and do that. So, but yeah, definitely. Your own pacing is very important. It's like, what do you want to do? And to me, if sometimes for some of you out there, if it's just getting out of bed and putting a smile on your face, I'm all for that. I totally get it. I'm all for that. If that's your biggest you can do today, then you can, and brush your teeth. I'm like, then that's a win.
I mean, listen, the world could use more happy people. So if that's what they do and they're happy, great. Love it.
Same here. I totally agree with that. So as I wrap this up, so Phil, how are you staying safe and sane in all this? I mean, like I said, normally you're home anyway, kind of working, but how are you if we're going into like week 2 or into this kind of the 3 that are into this kind of being safer at home?
Yeah. So I think I take a lot more naps now.
Naps are good. Let's say you live
No, they are. I mean, I like. I mean, I definitely feel the weight. Like after some of these calls, some of them, even when you're dealing like with seemingly frivolous stuff, it weighs on you. So it's like I got to get my strength back. So I'll take a nap. Other times, for me, like it is that stuff of like journaling and things like that. I maintain my regular routine as much as possible. So I know a lot of people, they'll stay up till like 5 a.m. and it's like, that's not their normal routine. And they're now going on like week 2 of this. And it's like, that's not going to help you. I like reading. So I continue to read books that I enjoy. I've been watching comedies. So I've been rewatching The Office. I already watched the British version. That's my favorite, but now I'm on to the American one again.
Yes. The British one's my favorite too. The British one is my favorite. It's so awkward. Ricky Gervais, they created this beautiful setting. The British one was my favorite. So I can
but I can acknowge the American one.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
So, stuff like that, and viewing parties with friends and things like that, where we can
doing
kind of
TikToks.
I do TikToks, yeah. So all these things, and I participated. We watched. It wasn't by my choice, but we watched Tiger King.
So you did. Okay, so you did watch it. Okay.
So now I'm in the know. Don't get me. I don't even want to give my opinion. I think it's the worst thing to ever happen. But hey.
Well, see, I haven't seen it yet, so I can't even. So we can't even get into it until I actually. I'm going to view maybe the first episode to see kind of what I think, and then I'll go from there.
Fair enough. I won't spoil anything.
Because people. I mean, I'm not a lemming or a sheep. I usually when people say stuff like that. I'm like, I don't want to. I actually go the opposite direction a lot of times when everybody all of a sudden likes something. Like I didn't watch The Circle. I didn't watch Love Is Blind. All these things. I was like,
I didn't watch those either.
Everybody was talking about that. Oh my God, James! Like I don't see those. But this one, I'm kind of curious because I do like documentary style stuff. That's the only thing that's kind of like.
Here's what I'll say.
So you tell me.
This doesn't spoil it. I mean, maybe it does, but to me, that's the problem. By calling it a documentary, to me, it's not a documentary. It's sensational storytelling.
Okay, I'll get that.
It doesn't qualify as a documentary, and that's what makes me upset. And that's why I also think people are gravitating towards it, is because like it's not a documentary.
Okay.
To me, like the Civil War documentary by like Ken Burns, that's a documentary.
Yeah. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. And see. And
I can't wait to talk about it with you.
Yeah, so talk about it, see what's going on. We'll do another video talking about Tiger King. Phil, Svitek, thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me.
Tell folks where they can find you on social media.
At Phil Svitek and philsvitek.com. So that's where I'm at.
Now, I'm James Lott Jr., and you can follow me where all James Lott Jr.'s are sold at James Lott Jr. and all social media platforms, all of them, including TikTok. Apparently, I'm a TikTok star. It's really bizarre over there.
It's awesome.
You see what I'm posting? I'm posting like talking videos. That's all I post.
Well, it's great. I mean, I love the you know you're Black or Latino if you have butter.
That one's at 500,000. I cannot believe it. I'm like, it's at 500,000. It's still growing. It's like really incredible. So I'm on TikTok. I give organizing advice. I give life coaching advice. And I post a fun little, I don't do any dances or anything. I don't do any of that stuff. But I'm having fun on there, and it's been a lot of fun. So I'm on there too. And I have a new Twitter handle, which is James Lott Jr. 1, just because my other one got hacked and I had to start a new Twitter. But you can find me there. This show, a lot of help is on YouTube at JLJ Media. It's also on all the streaming services you can think of, from Deezer to Spotify to iHeartRadio to Google. It's everywhere. Like, subscribe, comment, rate. Tell us what you think. Especially with this episode, tell me if you agree with us, don't agree with us, you have another idea. Please share with us. I hear and welcome all comments. I do.
Well, I have one final one.
Yes.
If I may, the biggest question on everyone's mind. You're the super organizer.
Yes.
But you have 800 things of butter in your thing. How is this possible?
And you come and go, why don't you just label it? I'm like, it's part of it's for joke, Phil. I
knew I was like poking the hornet's nest.
I laughed. I know I laughed when you said that. I was like, because normally I would have everything all nice and neat. There's a reason why they're in those little containers, because I'm an organizer. I make sure I use every square inch that matches. So yes, if you know you want to talk about, go to my TikTok and see it. Everybody stay safe and sane.